Hi, my name's Saraellen Mathewson, and I'm a freshman at Archbishop Williams. I have 3 generations of asthma in my family. My grandma has asthma, my mom has asthma, and my little brother has asthma. So I was always sort of wondering, how does asthma pass through families like that? And how does air pollution affect these people? So I started researching it. Just some general things about asthma. Asthma is a chronic respiratory condition, and it causes inflammation in the airway and narrowing of the airway that makes it so that people can't breathe as well. Asthma attacks are when symptoms of asthma, like wheezing, coughing, chest tightness, all of those things worsen dramatically, and it causes them to not be able to breathe. Some major pollutants that affect people with asthma are particulate matter, ozone exposure, and nitrogen dioxide. Particulate matter is like when you had a little scratch in your throat for people who don't have asthma. When you have a scratch in your throat, you just sort of feel it. But these tiny particles go deep into the lungs and can cause inflammation and eventually an asthma attack. Ozone exposure, like smog, comes from the environment, and it can make it so that there's airway inflammation and reduced lung function, also causing an asthma attack. Nitrogen dioxide from fuel emissions and factories can also cause inflammation and narrowing of the airway. That makes it very, very difficult for people to breathe. Sulfur dioxide is released from industrial facilities and power plants that causes asthma symptoms like wheezing and chest tightness and shortness of breath. Volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, come from like paints and cleaning products. Though these might not be as common as the others, have you ever walked into like a room that was freshly painted and you'd smell the paint? These are VOCs. And though me and you might think about it just like, oh, that's the smell of paint, for someone with asthma, this can be detrimental to their lung health. Same with secondhand smoke. Secondhand smoke is a cause of asthma for children. Kids, like from the age of 3 to 5, can develop asthma simply because of their parents smoking. So here are some real-world examples, like car emission and factories. These are examples of sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide that get released on the daily. Same with secondhand smoke. The child can develop asthma because of this secondhand smoke in the car, because there's not enough airflow. So some genes involved in asthma are these up here, but this is how asthma is able to be passed through families and make you genetically predisposed. This is how there's able to be 3 generations of asthma in a row without skipping, and they are all involved in different things like lipid metabolism, serine proteinase, regulation of cell death, and the immune system and the remodeling of the airway smooth muscle. Now, a lot of those things probably sound very confusing, but they're all related to inflammation and bronchoconstriction. So these are where the genes are on the chromosomes. There's chromosome 20, which has atom 33, which is a major player and the most common gene in the development of asthma. And this is how asthma is being able to be passed from my grandma all the way to my brother without skipping a generation. It's either because of one or a few of these genes. Hormone signal molecules like acetylcholine, histamine, prostaglandins, and adrenaline or epinephrine are chemicals in our bodies that travel through our bloodstream that create a reaction to pollutants. But in other people, there would be no reaction because they don't find an issue. But for those with asthma, they have these issues with their hormones that cause them to have a reaction that can lead to things like airway inflammation, mucus production, and bronchoconstriction that then creates them to not be able to breathe in their airway. People with asthma produce mucus to try and remove irritants and pollutants from their airway, thinking that it will make them be able to breathe better, but in reality, it causes them to be able to breathe less. Same with bronchoconstriction. It causes the smooth muscle to contract to try and get it so that there's less exposure to harmful substances, but it actually causes people to not be able to breathe in general. So in people with asthma, they're considered hypersensitive. So they have overreactions to certain pollutants, like I said before, but they can be exaggerated, leading to chronic inflammation and always being overly sensitive and have like sudden and very quick reactions to asthma. So in conclusion, air pollution has an incredibly negative impact on asthma for both adults and children, and traffic-related air pollution specifically can really develop a child's asthma even if they're not genetically predisposed. Some of my solutions would be to be mindful and educate yourself about these things, because if you have children, they could be getting asthma because of these pollutants that we just think of as everyday things. There should also be policies reducing road traffic emissions and promoting cleaner transportation methods to try and keep our planet not covered in nitrogen dioxide and sulfur dioxide, and to try and mitigate the impact of air pollution on everyone, not just asthmatics. Thank you.